Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of True Semi-Reality Champions and Comparison, featured by League of Legends versus the Mobile Legends Bang Bang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. You will be notified to our next episode video. Let's do this!
Back in these ancient times, the deserts of Shurima were empowered with primal unchained magic. In a remote valley surrounded by nothing but cliffs and rocks, the age-old race called the Breckern looked for raw crystals from deep within the sand. Each of these noble creatures fused with a single stone which retained their consciousness long after their death. Every time a Breckern died, his life stone was removed and buried in the valley to keep it safe until the next Breckern could uncover it. This practice protected the vulnerable crystals while preserving the wisdom of the ones who came before. Since the number of the life stones, or as they call them, name stones, was limited, each Breckern had to search for the crystal meant for them. After they found their destined stone, they would bury themselves underground in order to fuse their memories and their bodies with the stone. Their body in its final form would be empowered with primal magic of Earth. A Breckern without a crystal would not survive for long. The lack of physical strength and power would usually be their end. One of these creatures, called Skarner, spent many years searching for the crystal meant for him. Afraid he would die finding it, he grew more persistent in his search with each passing moon. Day and night he delved deeper into the ground, digging in methodical patterns that covered the entire valley. After what felt like millennia of searching, he finally felt an ancient consciousness calling for him. He burrowed down, venturing ever deeper until the world's heart warmed his shell. Days passed, but the consciousness grew ever more insistent, as it urged him onward. Finally, Skarner's pincers closed on a well-worn stone, and he heard a whisper at the back of his mind. Though the voice was faint, he already felt immediately connected to its awareness, and he knew he had found his stone. The crystal was larger than any he had seen, and so time-worn that its glow had faded into a soft glimmer. Its surface was cracked on several places and dulled from eons buried underground. Skarner examined the stone with careful touch, afraid of further damaging something so ancient. The dim glow within pulsed as though breathing in response to Skarner's presence. Skarner began the bonding ritual, burying himself deep underground with the crystal for weeks without sustenance. Though he felt pain from starvation, he was not afraid. The voice within the stone confronted him. When the crystal finally fused with his body, he was overwhelmed with emotion as ancient memories and wisdom permitted his mind. He witnessed moments of incredible joy and crushing sorrow from generations long past. He felt magic all around him, binding his body to the very world. Through that, he sensed his kind communicating in a wordless meeting of minds. When the cataclysmic forces of the Rune Wars began to devastate the world, the Breckern feared that their species would be wiped out too. They decided to hide in hibernation until humans wiped themselves out, as it seemed certain they would. Only then would it be safe to emerge from the sands once more. The youngest of them slept near the surface, ready to awaken first to protect the rest in case of danger. The power of Skarner's ancient stone turned him into one of the strongest Breckern of all, so he was one of the last of his kind to enter the long slumber. They slept in peaceful isolation as centuries passed before Skarner awoke from his burrow in panic. Deafening explosions shattered the ground, targeting the Breakern and stunning those close to the surface. A band of robbers discovered these ancient creatures and they were cutting the lifestones from their crystalline flesh. Though it seemed like they were dead and sleeping, Skarner heard their screams in his mind as their life essence was being ripped from their bodies. He erupted from the sand in a terrible frenzy, cutting and stabbing, killing many of the thieves. But he didn't save them all. After the rest of the thieves ran away, he realized that he was the only one awake and many of the crystals were already stolen. Skarner tried to revive his dormant companions, but the men had broken so many life stones in their attempt to sever the stones. Because of that, several of the Breakern with damaged crystals died moments after Skarner woke them up, while others would not wake at all. For weeks, Skarner guarded the sand above his sleeping brethren in sorrowful mourning. He was certain the crystals would quickly perish in the hands of men, and he mourned their loss too. Yet, as the sun broke over the horizon many weeks later, Skarner heard the distant echoes calling in his mind. These were the faint cries of a stolen crystal. Skarner hesitated, torn to whether he should rescue the lost crystals or continue guarding the still living Breakern. So after weeks spent erasing all the traces of the excavation, he went on his journey to find the lost lifestones. After some time, Skarner arrived near a human camp. Ahead I hear softskins. They do not sing, they shout. Their tones scratch and clash without melody or cohesion. They burn meat flesh over a false fire. Its fat smokes the air and I choke on the stench. Why would they do such a thing? The ground is plenty, plenty for all. The melody calls to me weakly. Almost. The namestone is close. I must explain. The softskins do not understand. Their race is but 3 turns young. They have only begun to dig. They have barely uncoiled the beginnings of underneath. They speak, but I have not yet heard them sing. They will learn. I sing in their minds a song of the calm land, so they feel the great beauty that awaits us when we sleep. I sing for my dead kin, so they know what they stole. The softskins do not sing back. They do not seem to hear me, so my voice grows louder in their heads. I sing for our namestones, wrongfully taken. Bring them back, they are ours. You murdered our cluster already. Do not deny our future also. Let me carry the crystals to the deep dark, so they can bind with us again. I sing to heal the staring wounds. The softskins are still shouting at each other. One of them releases a rhythmic sound. A laugh? I feel as though my body is being crushed by the air, so I burrow. I am confronted by the weight around me. How can they not see the ruin they have caused? You are heartless. You are cruel. How could you sever us like this? I will not let these softskins destroy us. At that moment, Skarner could take no more. Once again, he jumps from the sand, charging at the thieves. One of them threw a spear and hit Skarner's leg. It shattered on impact. You sing only death. I too can sing this song. Skarner released bright energy and crystals bursted from the ground, impaling some of them. Panic spread and the thieves started running, but Skarner was faster. He circled around them before leaping at another one. He split him in half with a clean cut. He then swept his finger around, knocking some of them to the ground. The next burst of crystals marked their end. Last one remained. She pulled out a weapon that Skarner described as a glowing piece of wood and metal. Light blazed from that weapon and illuminated Skarner, paralyzing him. She aimed her weapon again, this time ready to strike him down. Skarner shook in horror as he realized that the glowing weapon had the life crystal spread onto it. It started draining Skarner's life essence, but it wasn't enough. Skarner pulled strength from the ground. He cried out and readied his stinger for the last time. Direct hit impaled the thief, and she dropped her weapon. Skarner picked up the crystal with his mouth. He then curled his finger and let her fall to the ground, wounded but not dead. Do not return. Do not take our moonstones. We are not yours. We are all. We belong only to the deep dark. I leave her alive, and she runs. She lives not with my mercy, but because I know she has heard my dream song, and she has no choice but to sting. That is where Skarner's story ends. Honestly, for a champion that was just a side character in the Shuriman event, this is quite a story. It almost feels like all the crystals and energy coming from Runeterra's core is just a preparation for a great story. But that would be just speculation. For now, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to rate it however you want. Comment section is always open for more feedback. Social media is there for being social. And as absolutely always, thank you, come again. And that's another one. The only last one that is missing from Shurima is a Moonrise. And let's be honest, Skarner's lore was really cool. I really liked it. I always like those stories that are based on the evolution, on the creation of the world, or on some kind of bigger meaning. That's why I like Aurelian, that's why I like Thrice, and that's why I like Skarner. Even though he doesn't really affect the world that much, he gives us some kind of baseline on what the world was before. And maybe one day, Riot will tie Skarner to the core of the world, and maybe another champion will be from there, and we will see. Anyway, Skarner gives us a new window into the world, so let's hope there is something to look at.